Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the players, my sleepers, fades, ownership projections, weather, hot topics, you name it. I've got it. Give me a few minutes. I hopefully can put a few more dollars in your pocket, and let's jump right into this. Okay, so the hot topics, something I'm going to be doing are, I called it insights or any updates. The first thing, which you probably heard, is on number 18, due to Bryson DeChambeau discussing about hitting it possibly over this way. They have marked out of bounds so that he cannot do that. And they said it's for, you know, I guess fans' safety and whatnot. I think it's just interesting, if he would have not probably ever mentioned his thoughts on what he was doing, like driving, the par 5 at Bay Hill on number 6. Would they have done it? Probably not. I guess they did go up to him and told him before they announced it what they were doing. He said he was fine with it. He'll still be fine. But just thought that was kind of interesting if you didn't hear that. Of course, you had Rory on Jimmy Fallon last night. And in the short, what I was just bringing out of this is, I mentioned, and I think a lot of people saw it after the Arnold Palmer, his presser, he was pretty hard on himself, and kind of stated that, he's kind of searching for something and kind of in a funk. He's saying that that was just reaction after coming off a round that he just, after shooting the 2 in the water and taking whatever was a double or triple, I don't remember now, and kind of just removing himself from contention that, it was just him feeling he's not searching for anything. He mentioned that he has his wife and his daughter Poppy with him and he's in good spirits. I think it was just catching him at that moment. That being said, I still think his game, and he mentioned, is just, from one round to another, is just so up and down. He know the good stuff's in there. It's just, keep repeating. Now, can he find it this weekend? Of course, I've had some good feelings here before, so definitely a possibility. But just wanted to bring that up. DJ also had his presser. As I mentioned, 95% of the stuff you're going to hear on these pressers are BS. So I'm kind of cutting down. You have to listen to 20, 30 minutes, and I just pull out the things I think are worthwhile. Long story short, DJ, the week that he took off during API, worked on the driver. He's back to hitting, be able to hit his fade consistently. He really likes playing. If you look at his background history at this course, a little tougher in the beginning, like most, the first few times you go around this track, it takes a bit to get up to speed, but he's stating that he likes it a lot better in March. And really the same thing that JT said is, the course is immaculate, maybe the best they've ever seen it. Greens are maybe a little faster, but the greens are also very receptive. That means you can shoot at pins. But the rough is obviously a little thicker, and if they get moisture, which makes it a little harder to get out. So that was it. Just the good news is that DJ's feeling good with the driver, and if he's feeling good with the driver, that's going to take all the pressure off everything else, which hence, if you looked at, I believe, WGC, where he lost 10 strokes putting, I think some of that was just frustration. I think it was even Saturday, he was trying to make a comeback and, had a rough front nine, had a really good back nine. I think it was something like a 39. You think about it, it was almost like a 40 on the front and shot like a 30 or 31 on the back. So then to go into Sunday and just struggle again, I think he just kind of lost it and, maybe lost a little bit of his, didn't really care. But also, if you're hitting bad drives, that's putting pressure on everything else. So enough about that. And then moving on to JT, the long short of it, what I've been saying is that, this game is 90% mental, maybe more. And for these guys, if you're not in the right mindset and you're not focused at every tournament, it is going to show because you're playing against 100 and some guys that are. And so, between the comment and between the passing of his grandfather and a little bit maybe even with the Tiger thing of him getting hurt, I think it's all just added up. And I don't think his mind's been there. At times it has. I'm guessing he's in a little better space. I'm still a little worried at, of playing him or, quite a bit. And I'll talk a little bit more, but long story short, that was what JT had to say. This coming out and saying, yeah, for sure. My game's been in a better place. I've been in a better place. And a lot of it's due to all the outside noise that he's been dealing with. Okay, I had some requests because I didn't really go over this on my picks that I was going to, but the more I thought of it, I thought, hey, it might be something of interest. I've had some people ask, who's done really well in their career at Pete Dye courses. And just so you know, the list of the courses are the players, of course, where they're at TPC Sawgrass. And this is where the tour makes its typical yearly stops. This isn't including like Whistling Straits or courses where they played, like a PGA championship, like one-offs. Even Rory played and won the PGA championship at Kiawah Island, which was a Pete Design or is a Pete Design course. So these courses are ones they play every year, which there's some good data on it. And so you've got also the Travelers, which is at TPC River Highlands. You got the Valero Texas Open, which is at TPC San Antonio. I don't think that's really a good course fit, but it is a Pete Dye track. You got the American Express at PGA West Stadium, which we saw earlier this year. And lastly, you got RBC Heritage at Harbortown, which I do think there is some correlation there. You could look at how guys have done there. And so all these guys have won at least once one of these tournaments, except I believe for Zach Johnson. He's done well at all these, but had a couple runner-ups, a couple second-place finishes. But all these other guys, of course, Rory won the Players. Of course, Simpson won the Players. Kuchar won the Players a while back. Siwoo won the Players. I think it was his first win. DJ won, I believe, the Travelers not too long ago, off just top of my head. I'm pretty sure that was it. But anyways, just to give you an idea, and if you want to think about rostering these 6 guys in DraftKings, it is impossible. You can get 5 of them in, but you can't get these 3 guys all together with these guys. I'm not sure. Kuchar's game it's been a little rough. He's shown a little life with the irons. Of course, Siwoo just coming off the win at the Amex again, so he's won 2 out of these. And so, I think even from a betting perspective, anytime Siwoo Kim is on a Pete Dye course, he is live and worth at least, even if it's a first round leader or something like that. Zach Johnson just doesn't miss cuts typically. You can kind of go through his history at all these tournaments. He just doesn't miss cuts, does well. And of course, in his earlier days, I think his last official win, if I remember correctly, is the Open at St. Andrews. So it's been a little while for Zach for an actual outright win. Okay. And then lastly on that, if you want to see, if I take my keystroke gain categories that I'm heavily weighting and what I'm looking at for guys in this tournament and put that against, and this is pulling all the Pete Dye courses over their career. It also represents and shows, against these weights that Kuchar number 1, you got Rory, DJ, Kim, you got Garcia up there. I looked at, like I said, I dug into some of these guys just to make sure, and none of them have the pedigree of the guys I talked about. They might have popped up here or there on one of the tournaments, but of course Webb has done really well. I didn't get into all these guys, so maybe one of these guys have a better track record than those guys. I doubt it. Maybe Rose or Day, but yeah, if you want to just get an idea who does very well at these courses, and Keegan Bradley, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit here. Okay, so that's your team Pete Dye, just in case you're curious. And let's go to my top 5 sleepers. Let's jump over the analysis and I'll come back and summarize. Okay, first thing before I do that, because like I said, sometimes I forget, let me update this. Let's take a look at ownership projection, or it could slip by and I'd forget and you'd be bummed, and that's not good. So let's take a look. All right, so we look at the top guys, the least owned. Let's see. I guess it'd be DeChambeau if you want to classify him in there, but DJ is there, and then of course you got Roy and Schauffele. And I think up here, because I think a lot of guys understand that this tournament is a little different, and it takes away the advantage of the long ball off the tee. Not that if you're very accurate with it, like Rory, or you can still have some advantage, but it's not the same. This course kind of limits the advantage and allows the guys that are very accurate off the tee, but only hit it maybe 275, 280, also to be in contention. So, I think people understand that, and that's why you don't see maybe these in the 20s. It's funny. I kind of mentioned where, some of my builds are going to start. And again, this is talking about a GPP perspective. The Webb Simpsons, the Morikawas, the Cantlays, you can see are the most owned at this point. I'm just seeing if anybody else calls out. Paul Casey's getting a little bit of love, which is good. I think, it fits his game. It's just whatever the putter can do for him. You got Joaquin Niemann, who is one of my picks. Will Z is an interesting one. I almost put him on my fades, but I didn't. I just think the first time you play this track, you are at a disadvantage, and that shows over and over. I think you need to be around, just like Augusta. I mean, can you come out? The first time it has happened. I think Siwoo, when he won, it was his first time there, so it can happen. Um, but long story short, that would be where I'd probably not say fade at that price. I think it's a good value for Will Z, especially from a point perspective. But I think he could struggle the first couple days. He might not be around for the weekend, but we'll see how it all works out. I like the Abraham Answer. He is one of my picks. I think he could be kind of sneaky. He's just been kind of quietly going about his business, and he's just really good. Very accurate off the tee, very good with the long irons. Again, it all comes down to his putter, like most guys. Tringali's got a little bit of love. Chris Kirk, who is actually someone that I'll talk about. I am on Chris Kirk. He's been playing excellent golf. And Keegan, who I will also be talking about. So people are seeing some things that I'm seeing here. The Hofster, of course. How could you leave the Hoff out? And I'm just scrolling to see if anybody else pops up way down here that's a little, I don't say chalky, but just maybe owned. Shocking about Doug Gim after he went out and shot that, 8 or 9 over on Sunday, that people are still chopping. But, at that price tag, he's got probably the best talent out of these guys, or at least from a future perspective. Okay, that's about it. So you got your ownership projections. You know what's going on there. All right, let's talk about my sleepers. I'm going to keep this at kind of a bit of a high level. I'm not going to go through, as I typically do, again, banging them off each courses, except for one guy, because I think, someone actually mentioned in the comments, and I just want to give you guys some clarification. I'm showing you guys the analytics part and the model and the stuff that I do. I want you to know for sure that I don't make the picks and give you the picks just whatever the model tells me. That's not why I'm here. I've got a long history within the golf game and the profession. I actually played some mini tours a while back, even a couple outings at the Nike tour. So that kind of dates me a little bit. But I also watch probably way too much golf, and I just enjoy it. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy watching it. And this is actually fun and a hobby for me. But I just want you to, I want to be able to show you guys some stuff instead of me just sitting here on camera, just telling you what I think and not really giving any advice. Say, well, this guy's been doing well and this and that and that. I still think for you guys to see some of the analysis that I'm doing allows you to also just make your own picks. You can go with some things that I like, and you might see some things that, hey, that you like better. So sorry about that. A little bit of a sidebar. Moving on, Chris Kirk, of course, I've already mentioned, if you watch my money picks, that the two key indicators that, guys must have before I even take it to the next level and look at, all the other things that I want to look at with them is approach and good drives. And Chris Kirk just nails all these, all for the price tag of 7K. I'm excited, that everything looks good. He's been here before. His best place was a T13 and T12. So for Chris Kirk, to have that kind of tournament history is really, I think, very impressive. He's trending maybe in the wrong way a little bit, but of course that could be the game. And Bermuda, he gains very little, but it is his best surface. This is a new one, and if you watch me for a while, I'd never tout Keegan Bradley. But Keegan, I think he had, let's go look at recent history. I didn't do that for him too. Of course, recent history for Chris Kirk's been way above average. Actually, everything above a T20 except for that cut at Waste Management. But this is also, the last time I saw resurgence was after COVID, right to Sanderson Farms. Keegan Bradley, I think he led the first 54 holes. I mean, the guy was in Fuego, and then Sunday just kind of, lost it all with the putter net. And you got to see that again at the API, right? But he is a guy definitely can get to the weekend. He can get you some points. The guy can make eagles. Of course, like a Corey Connors, the guy's getting off, he's hitting the fairways, he's hitting the greens, and he's giving himself opportunities. It's just typically, for some odd reason, the putter, as a lot of guys, can get super hot or super cold. It's not a real medium with Keegan Bradley. And so I like Keegan. Ryan Moore is interesting. This is an issue. His game has just been in a doldrum, but he's had some decent, tournament history. And again, I'm not waiting heavily on that. But this game, if you ask me just real quick and said, some guys you think that could get around the track, not going to win it, but could manage and end up in a top 30 or something like that. Ryan Moore, Ches Reavie, even Ryan Armour at a time. His game suits here, but they just a lot of them have been in a funk. But again, he meets the top two indicators very well. From a driving perspective, top 10. The putter again could be an issue, and you can see Bermuda is a negative putting surface over his history. And managing the par fours, that there's a ton of them, is a problem. But again, just somebody for you to take a look at. Kevin Streelman, again, hits the top two, a real good putter, as in avoiding three putts. But, Bermuda is a negative surface, not crazy. It's not like he's losing a stroke or something like that. But he doesn't make the eagles. But then he manages the par fours that he needs to. Recent form, not bad. Best was at the AT&T at a 13th. And, he's out of 5 events showing here, and I'm not sure how much more history he has there. I could pull it up, but I don't think it's worth it. He's gotten by a few times, but again, the good news is he's got course history here, so I believe that's what you need. The Hofster, again, does getting great ball striker, if you want to put it that way. Can make eagles. It's all going to come down to putter, but Bermuda is his best surface. While we've been talking about the Hofster probably a little more in his Florida swing. He's been here. He's got a couple T30s. And, recent form, he just had a 10th at the Arnold Palmer. Had a 7th at, the AT&T. And, of course, he had a couple, the cuts and the withdrawals. Before that, something was going on. I don't think we ever got clarity on what was going on. But anyways, Henrik Norlander, this guy, I think him and Neesmith are like identical plays. Ridiculous. Again, can be ridiculous off the tee and approach just amazing. Doesn't do as well on the eagles. Can manage the par fours is showing, but it's all the putters of these guys, both of them. That's why it's so hard to get them right. Is just when are they going to get a hot putter? Of course, he had that second place T2 at Farmers. Some good showings there. Missed the cut at the Genesis, but tough track. And also, both these tracks are tough. Not saying where he's going is any easier, but he has no tournament history, so that would be a knock against him. Harold Varner, again, it's all fitting right into these guys. Great off the tee, good on approach, especially on long iron approaches, or hybrids, whatever, hitting 200 plus in. I think Harold Varner, he's always excelled at that. Can definitely make eagles if the putter allows him. But again, it's a little struggle with the par fours and three putting. Again, it's just a putter thing with him. But he's had a T7 here in 2018. Again, just so you know, I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but he does have tournament history here. So again, these are all guys below 7,000. You can see their projected ownership too as I'm kind of moving through, and this is pretty up to date. Brendan Steele, I always lump Streelman and Steele. I mean, their names are the same. They kind of look the same. I always said on the tour, literally, you can always find two guys that kind of look alike, play alike, can actually literally confuse them. That's my Ryan or Brian Armour, Ryan Moore. Those two guys, I've always, you can literally confuse them. But Steele's been on, a nice recent form. He had a T6 here a while back. Of course, some cuts, as everybody typically does. And, good history. And does everything well. And this is what I like probably the most with Steele is what he can do from an eagle perspective. And he manages the par fours. His approach, I guess, would be the weakest out of this. So, he didn't make the cut on the 50, but again, we're down to $6,700 cost. But he did so many other things so well, and his background at the course, I think he's a good play down here. Neesmith, like I just said, elite approach. And again, I'm sorry if I didn't mention, this is looking at, I believe, the last 24 rounds of golf. So I just want to state that because I don't think I did. But yeah, his last 24 rounds, which would be last 6 tournaments, hopefully, not including if he missed a cut. So last 6 or 7 tournaments. Again, the putter. But the guy, from even a betting perspective, maybe like a first-round leader, I think Norlander or Neesmith is someone interesting. You can see these guys will just pop in one round. They'll have one, ridiculous round. So if you're betting, first-round leaders, I'd take a shot. I don't know what the odds are. I'd have to pull it up real quick, and I'm not going to do that. But I would guess 100 to 1. If not better, for Neesmith or Norlander to be leading round 1. Again, Bermuda kind of neutral for him, but, as you see, he's not really winning on any surface when it comes to the putter. So JT Poston, this is the one guy, and just to prove that I don't just go off model. Because this guy is not doing it on approach. He's not doing it on drives. We know he can be a really good putter at times, but he can make eagles. And, he's got this T22, so he does have some history here. That's all I'm really looking for. He's had some decent showings, but just had a cut. His ownership is pretty low. But if we go take a look at Mr. Neesmith and we're going to do my comp stuff just because I think it's worth it with him. So we already know the players. If we look at the Amex, which is another Pete Dye course, as I already mentioned, he's had a 7th. If we go look at RBC, he's had an 8th and a 6th, and the 8th is, very recent. I don't know about the Valero for him. Yeah, so he's had a 27th or 30th. Again, all Pete Dye courses. The last is the Travelers. Let's see. So the Travelers is the one where, he has not done well. For whatever reason, that course does not work out for him. But anyways, he is someone that I will be plugging in here or there. Not from I don't really think from a betting perspective, I don't see nothing on him. The only thing would just be for GPP if you're, kind of putting double guns up top or whatever, and you're down here. I think he's worth a flyer. Kyle Stanley, just purely from a model perspective, ranks out really well for what I'm looking for. Doesn't really convert the Eagles, but everything else. He's had better recent form. At one time, Kyle Stanley, was, I don't know where he was in the world rankings, but he was up there. The guy was in his youth, as a lot of these guys do, come out with a roar. And he's had a T4 here, and then the biggest thing, I'd just say he's got history here, knows the course. But it's all about, could he fire 4 days, at least the first 2 days at this price tag to get you in the weekend, get you some points. Also, like Michael Thompson, again, he makes, my first 2 indicators. We all know, this doesn't show, but he had that win. Oh boy, I'm going to blank, but it was a while ago, as in it was in recent season, but it's been a while. But so, he can finish. Let's just go look, because since I'm touting his win, I should at least know. I think it was at the 3M or something like that. Let's see. Where was Michael? Yep. Hey, see? So it was in July when he won in Minnesota there, but, that's not that long ago. So we know he can do it. Bermuda is his best surface. The putter can kind of get a little sticky on him, so that could be a problem. And he's not going to get you the Eagles, but we'll say he can manage the par 4s. And last but not least, someone I don't typically tout, but Cameron Percy, he's been managing, and he had a 7th tie for 7th at Puerto Rico. I thought he had tournament history here. Well, because of that, let's go see what Mr. Percy, I believe he's an Australian. Let's just go see what he's done at some of the other. So, not good at that Pete Dye course. What about the RBC? That was way back. At least he made the cut, but that was a long time. The Valero, last one was a miscut. What else? We have the Travelers. Anything there? And the Travelers miscut. So, we'll just go on with Mr. Percy again. Men price that he, from a drive perspective, he leaves the field at least for the last 24 rounds of hitting fairway. So, and he's not doing bad on approach. Now, again, he's not going to, do a lot with the Eagle perspective, but he's going to get around the track. And can he make the cut here? I believe he can. But he is definitely, if you are going now, maybe 3 guns on top, and you're looking for that guy at the very min price. Out of the guys I saw, I like Cameron Percy. Okay, let's jump back in and I'll summarize. Okay, so my top 5 sleepers are, in no specific order, we got, and this is, it's kind of funny, all these guys got blue shirts, and some of these guys actually I used at the API, and they were all blue shirts, so we're going to call them Team Blue Shirts. We got Keegan Bradley leading off, elite from tee to green, and hope he can make a putt. And really, you could call these guys Team No Putt, because all these guys are elite from tee to green. We're just all looking for one of these guys to pop with the putter. And that's Nylander, that is Neesmith. Chris Kirk, I'd say, is probably maybe the better putter the best putter maybe out of these 5. Oh, except JT Poston, I would give it. So we ranked it. I give JT Poston the best putter out of these guys. Kirk, and then the next 3, who knows? But that's my top 5 sleepers. Let's go over to my fades. Okay, so my fades are JR, Justin Rose, the back issue. There's been, so much speculation on that. There's people that said he was grabbing his back and having issues when he was practicing putting before the round. And then, I think he went to pick up the ball and pull the ball the hole. I think it was number 2. So I think he went par, and then he put a triple bogey on a par 5, I believe. I'm forgetting now the third hole. But anyways, he had a 9, and some people say, oh, it was the 9 that he finally said, I'm out of here. I don't think that. I don't see. He was doing pretty well. I think he was 5 under or something like that. He wasn't, looking good and probably the best he's looked in a while. But I'm terrified of the back. I've had some back issues, and they just don't go away in 6-7 days or easily to bring it back. So I'm off him. Adam Scott, the game has just been rough. The two things that Adam Scott, I would almost put him in the category of the Corey Connors, even some of those guys we just talked about, Bradley. The guy is typically elite off the tee and on approach, and where he struggles is usually with the putter, and he can get super hot with the putter too. But it's all been just kind of a mishmash. So I'm off Scott, even though good tournament history here. And I've said multiple times that I'm on the Spieth train. I believe, but I'm just being truthfully honest from a GPP perspective. He's just not making my cut. Now he could go out and wow us all, but we know his history here is bad. It's just like you're sitting there waiting for that double miss to come back. And I think, he's found something with teeing it lower and he's confident with the driver. Everybody says he's been hitting the driver better than Justin Thomas lately. That is actually true from a statistical. But my fear with Jordan is that mentally, if he starts to miss with that driver, I'm not worried about the irons. I think he gets over his irons and has been for a long time. Very confident. And same with the short game and putting. It is literally the driver. And I think when the driver goes south, again, just like what I talked about with DJ, it puts pressure on everything else, is when he gets in big trouble. And this course, out of any course, if you are starting to have some misses, you're going to be in big trouble. So that is my reasoning. I think he's back. I think he's doing well. But at this tournament, I'm just really leery. So I'm at the fade Spieth from a GPP perspective. And then JT too. From that upper echelon, upper 9,000s, there's other guys that I want to play that I've already mentioned. Again, until JT, I'm kind of almost like the Missouri State. You got to kind of show me some things that I can, grab onto. I can't just be like, well, you were always used to be good. We could say that about Brandon Graves. We could say that about Kyle Stanley. I'm not putting him in that class. I'm just saying the golf game can come and go. And I think with him, it's not so much physical, it's mental. And until he mentally kind of clears. And on a total side note, I don't want to go off tangent. Let me just do my last fade and we'll jump on that. And then Woodland, same thing. Just hasn't shown enough. I know that supposedly he's 100% healthy or as healthy as he's felt. It's an amazing value. I think he's at 6,900 or something like that, 6,800 from a GPP play. Now, again, taking a flyer, is he just, possible as those guys I just put as from a sleeper perspective? But I'm not going to just jump on the train. Oh, Gary Woodland, I don't see it. His game is just not there. On a total side note, the fun thing, and I was going to put this on my hot topics. The one thing that I thought people would be talking about more than anything, and I haven't heard anything on it, is Matthew Wolff not playing in this, that he, pulled himself out of the tournament. The guy, of course, I don't know where he is on the world golf rankings right now, but of course he's top 50 or better. He's the only one missing from that range. And, I actually had somebody ask me, hey, what's going on with Matthew Wolff? And of course, I don't know. What I do know, so I actually went down a rabbit hole and, just started digging to see what I could find. And all I can find right now is Matthew Wolff from a mental, almost like a JT thing, is having, I think, some issues. And I'm just, from everything I read, there's a couple different reports out there from the Golf Channel, conversations with his mom. He is his worst critic, as everybody typically is. He is his worst critic. And I think when he had the struggles at his home course, that everybody, if you remember, that would have been, I don't know if I was at Sherwood. I'm just trying to remember. I always get the CJ Cup and the Zozo flipped around. It doesn't matter. Everybody was on him. I was on him. Everybody thought, hey, he's going to his home course, played here a ton, and then went out and just, stunk it up. I don't even remember he made the cut there. It doesn't matter. Long story short, I just found it interesting that there's all these other stories out there that everybody's talking about, but nothing on Matthew Wolff. And I've been a bit hard on him. I mean, not hard, but just saying, fading him because I think his swing's broke or he's broken. And that's, that's kind of crappy because that guy is going to be, I think, an amazing player. And also, what's amazing if you sit and look back is his connection with Bryson DeChambeau, just as from a tournament perspective. And I totally forgot that his first tournament that he won, the 3M Open, that Bryson DeChambeau was actually in the clubhouse, 20 under lead. And of course, I think he was like tied at, I think he was 19 under, I think it was on 18. And he was tied with Morikawa. I don't know if there was someone else. And literally he chipped in for that eagle, kind of a walk-off eagle, wins that tournament, and just beats out Bryson DeChambeau. And then, of course, you got the Rocket Mortgage where those guys went down, dueling, and Wolff lost the Rocket Mortgage. And then, of course, you got the U.S. Open. And funny enough, so back to what I said about Bryson, anytime that those guys are in tall rough and don't have to worry about penalties from either, water or crazy woods, I think those guys are just so super live. And so I tie those two a lot together. I think there's a lot of similarities there, even in just you can just see the tournaments they played together in. So just side note, I just wanted to kind of go over that. It wasn't anything. Now on to your weather report, and I'm not going to spend but 2 seconds on this. There's nothing to worry about. I see nothing right now. I'm pulling this off Jackson Beach out of Windfinder. This is pretty close to the course. And everything looks great. There was some wind from a bit that was showing, but right now, again, you got to check on your own as you're doing showdown and everything else. But just your quick weather report, everything looks amazing. So that's that. And now let's get to the fun part. Congrats to everyone. And I just want to also say, I had to do this late last night, get all these names into the randomizer. And I wanted to show you guys this because I just wanted you to make sure that you knew that I'm not just sitting there going, oh, I'll pick this guy, I'll pick that guy. I want it to be random. And I appreciate you guys taking your time to send me comments, to subscribe, to like, everything you're doing. It means the world to me. There was 65 that got in this. I apologize to people that might have put them in this morning. I need to put a cutoff date. That's on me. But the good news is we're almost at 300 subscribers. If I get to 500 subscribers before the Masters, or even when I start to do my shows for the Masters, I'm going to double it. I'm going to do the same promotion, but we're going to make it for 20 winners because that's how much I appreciate you guys and all the comments and all the positive feedback. And as you've seen, hopefully, if you've been with me for a while, the show's getting better and better. I'm learning as I kind of go. Like I said, I'm trying to take what I know, but also put it in a format that is, somewhat palatable and also, exciting to some degree, or at least entertaining to watch. So working on that. Okay, let's get on to it. So the winners are, I'm not going to name them all, but you see your name. If you're watching the show, you got Mackenzie, Rick, St. Creeth, John, Jeremy, Tim, John, Tom T, and Thiroshen. So I guess I did name them all. You will be getting notified by me today. I just need your email address for PayPal, and I'll just PayPal the $20 over. So hopefully you can still get in the big contest if you want. Of course, put in anything else you want. But hey, congrats. Thank you all. The feedback and everything that you guys say and do is why I keep doing this. And because, like I said, I enjoy it. That's it. That's the show. Thanks so much again for everything. And again, if you like what you're seeing, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber, it means the world to me if you subscribe. I know it can be a pain in the ass if you don't have a YouTube account, but if you sign up for a YouTube account, which I don't think is that difficult, and just click the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. Anything I can help you with on any questions you have from a GPP, one and done, outright bets, I'm more than willing to give you my input, as good as that is. And so hit me up on Twitter at DFSF Golf Guru. And lastly, I'll just say one more time, check out the players. We'll have, every shot, full coverage, a lot of great pairings. I don't have them. You can just go now on PGA, the PGA app, and check out all the tee times, but they've got some sweet pairings. That'd be fun to watch. That's it. Best of luck. Talk to you guys later.